Keshad Johnson is going to be the most valuable player out of this entire draft class. I'm going to break down a few quotes from him on why that's going to happen, as well as my own ideas behind it on this episode of Heat Digest. So let's get to it and not waste any time and break down the steal of the draft. Well, not of the draft, but of draft night. And the reason it's not of the draft is because, as we all know, Keshad Johnson went undrafted, surprisingly, and leave it to the Miami Heat to once again go through their draft process and handle it however they may. But then once the night actually ends, they go out and find 2, 3, 4 more guys who go undrafted, and they end up being uncovered gems. So again, Keshad Johnson is going to fit in perfectly with the Miami Heat, as once again we've hit a home run selecting another undrafted player after the draft night ends. And again, these quotes are from Keshad himself, and again, this goes a long way. It really, really does, as this is really the mold of player we are looking for every single year coming out of the draft, or even as free agents. This guy can play not only for the Miami Heat, but it seems like any team in the entire league, and he'd honestly find a roster spot in any of those teams. So now let's get to it, and shout out to Emo Jimmy once again, citing him from Twitter. They are the best. They produce all these quotes and all these graphics all the time, so shout out to them. And they go on to quote Keshad Johnson on what he brings to the Miami Heat, going on to say, and I quote, "Ultimately, effort. Aside from skill, my impact to the team is my heart, the energy I bring, the things that don't show up in the box score. I feel like that I perfected being an energy guy and getting stops. I'm a hard-nosed, gritty person." End of quote from Keshad Johnson. And once again, we couldn't have wrote the quote even better ourselves, as people who root for the Miami Heat, for people that know what the Miami Heat are really looking for year after year to bring into this organization. This is exactly it. This mold of player, this type of play is something that we're looking for every single time, from whether you be a rookie coming out of college going into the NBA draft, or being a few years into the league and you're now a free agent looking for somewhere to now be a valuable piece to a championship level team. This Miami Heat team looks for guys like this all the time. And again, this is just the first quote. We have more that we're going to break down, and we'll get to the second one now, as this one is from Naveen Gangli. Again, I apologize. I'm hard with names. I think I'm pronouncing that close to accurate. But again, quoting Keshad Johnson, saying, "Everybody that knows basketball, they know the effect I bring to the game. I don't worry about the stats and at all. I don't go out there and tell myself I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm just going to try to do everything it takes to win that given day." Once again, we couldn't have wrote the quote any better ourselves for Mr. Johnson. Like, this is absolutely perfect. This guy is a gamer. He wants to play. He wants to play hard, and it doesn't matter if he's getting five shot attempts a game, 10 shots, 15 shots. He doesn't have to do all that. Doesn't matter if he's getting rebounds. He's shooting a high percentage. Doesn't matter if he has a lot of assists with a low amount of turnovers. None of that really matters to Johnson. And because of that, again, he's going to fit in with this Miami Heat team. Obviously, right now, he's on a two-way contract with this Miami Heat team. And if a roster spot opens up for anyone, whether it be Josh Christopher, obviously Alondas Williams, all these guys on the G League teams that we've discussed in the past, I believe Johnson is going to be one of the first that gets called up to the big stage to play with this Miami Heat team. Obviously, the athleticism is on another world, but again, the frame that he has, being 6'7", 6'8", and being able to move laterally the way he can, the defensive highlights are otherworldly. He looks like he's been in the league. He almost looks like a veteran in this league, and again, that is going to benefit this Miami Heat team so much. Him being so young, his gas tank is going to be a bit bigger than some guys that have been around the block one or two times. Again, like Kevin Love, he's not coming in there and he's going to give you high energy minutes for 5-minute bursts. But again, you're not going to put him in there. You're not going to get a lot of explosive plays on his end. Maybe an outlet pass, maybe just a push in transition and an open three made by Kevin Love that could swing momentum. But Keshad Johnson, the way he plays this game, you can put him in at that power forward position, at that small forward position, and you can really expect him to really produce. And again, it won't be in the box score. It's just going to be all the physical stuff, all the things, all the gritty things, all the dirty work no one else really wants to do on a nightly basis. And again, that is why I think Johnson is not only going to make this Miami Heat team probably in the first month of the opening of the season, but again, he's going to stay with this Miami Heat team. Hopefully he stays healthy. Again, it takes a lot of wear on the body when you play this brand of basketball. But again, another player we can compare him to, and I absolutely love this comparison, because if you're very young and you did not get to watch Andre Iguodala in his time playing the game of basketball, go to YouTube. You have to Google Andre Iguodala and watch his highlights. And obviously, you're going to think of the Golden State Warriors days when he was playing six-man and he was the jack of all trades type of guy. But again, There was days back in Philly, in his career, when he was the man. He was a freak athlete. Again, on the offensive end, he wasn't polarizing. He wasn't giving you 25 to 30 points a game. But again, you're getting some highlights in that game. It was usually an electric dunk, some amazing defense on, again, whether it be in the half court or full court, pressing the player and just picking him up full court and making his life a living hell to get up the floor and just making everything really, really difficult to do. Obviously, Andre Iguodala, we don't even have to mention the fact that he was an amazing dunker, making the dunk contest, I believe, 2 years. And again, he showed out in those dunk contests. And again, something that we could see from Keshad Johnson in the future because of the brand of basketball he plays night in and night out. So once again, citing Emo Jimmy on Twitter, as he goes on to say, Keshad Johnson says he tries to model his game after Andre Iguodala, going on to say, he's a jack of all trades. He's athletic, nice defense, and does spectacular stuff. Andre is somebody I looked up to growing up. And again, I cannot love this anymore from Keshad Johnson. Not only the quote, but again, the entire idea behind it. Andre Iguodala was phenomenal. And again, obviously, we're going to think of the recency bias when he was playing with the Warriors, and he was that sixth man that really just did it all for him. He wasn't a consistent 15 to 20 points per game. But again, when you got the scoring from him, it felt like you took all the pressure off of your offense in totality because you got a hand from someone you usually don't get production from on that side of the floor, as well as just being the reliable man on the defensive end that you can put on really anybody on the half-court set to really at least slow them down to some extent, because obviously sometimes you get matched up with players like Curry, Durant, players that you can't really stop, but you can minimize to some extent, and I think Keshad Johnson is going to be one of those defensive stoppers that you can put on those big-name talents that he not stop them in totality, because again, that's damn near impossible, especially as we're watching it and getting a first-hand really example on the world stage with the Team USA Olympic team. Obviously, there's a lot of talent everywhere, but again, when someone has it going, whether it be Curry or whether it be Durant or LeBron James or whoever it may be, it's pretty damn near impossible to just flat out stop them from doing what they're going to do. But again, minimizing them, making their life harder on the offensive end to be productive is something I feel like we're going to see a lot from Keshad Johnson. Now, I will highlight the one box score I did bring for you guys in this video. And again, this was his best game from the NBA Summer League. And again, yes, the stats are great. Obviously, he ended with 21 points. He shot 4 of 6 from the free throw line. He shot 8 of 14 from the field, which is, again, phenomenal. But again, a lot of those are dunks. A lot of those are runouts where he was making the energy or producing the energy on defense, and he was being rewarded for it. And again, something that we would love to see with this Miami Heat team. Again, to finish off the rest of the box score along with his 21 points. He did have he had 3 blocks, 3 steals, 6 rebounds, and how many assists did he have? He had 3 assists as well. Simply phenomenal gameplay from Keshad Johnson. Again, I know it's the NBA Summer League. We can't say he's playing against pros yet. Obviously, they are pros. They're first-year players, second-year players, whatever it may be. But again, it's not the cream of the crop. It's not an NBA starting 5. But again, it's a brand of basketball that is going to fit in anywhere in the entire league. Now, I'm going to play a few of these clips because it just solidifies everything I've been trying to tell you guys about just the gameplay we're going to get from Johnson. So here we go.
He understands how the game is supposed to be played.
Turnover by Boston. Miami looking to run against Johnson. Oh my goodness.
Just 2 of those plays. Again, one of them was a lob thrown from Isaiah Stevens from half court that ended up being a reverse dunk for Johnson, as well as a breakaway on a fast break where no one stopped ball. And again, Johnson is coordinated and has the ability enough to be able to put the ball on the floor, get down the floor in a very, very fast pace, and then finish aggressively where no one really wants to jump with him. And that's a smart decision. That is a business decision, as he is simply a man amongst boys when running down the lane. A little bit of LeBron James-esque. Again, I'm not saying he's LeBron. I'm not saying that. Do not rip me in the comments for that. Just, again, the brand of basketball. When he puts his head down, he's dribbling down the floor. It seems like he's going to be damn near impossible to get in front of and stop. So
and there you go. I mean, like, I was not kidding. What can I say? The dude looks like the Cavalier.
Like I said, I will never be able to unsee it now. Shot clock winding down. It's at 2. Shackelford's got to get it off. Good.
That clip had no offensive highlight for Keshad Johnson. The entire thing was his highlight, but he was on the defensive end of the floor. Something, again, this is the exact example of what we're talking about. The ability and the willingness to slap the floor, accept the challenge on defense, lock up the first guy. He gives it up. There's a kind of a half-ass screen set where it causes a switch just because Johnson was more than willing to accept that challenge. He locked up the first guy, he gave it up, didn't know what to do with it, kind of just cleared the way and asked the next teammate to just get the job done. Johnson once again accepted that challenge, and the result was the same. Another locked up defensive play by Johnson. I think this is stuff that's going to translate into the league, and I think, again, it's not going to take it's not going to take very long for Keshad Johnson to get an invite in an actual roster spot on this Miami Heat team until when this season actually starts. But again, that will be it for this episode of Heat Digest. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. And remember, let me know down in the comments what you guys think about Mr. Johnson. And I'll see you guys on the next one.